Change will not come if we wait for some other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. The best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope. You will fill yourself with hope. A change is brought about because ordinary people do extraordinary things. Yes, we can. We are the change we have been waiting for. In the unlikely story that is America, there has never been anything false about hope. In the face of impossible odds, people who love this country can change it. I'm inspired by the people I meet in my travels, hearing their stories, seeing the hardships they overcome, their fundamental optimism and decency. I'm inspired by the love people have for their children. And I'm inspired by my own children, how full they make my heart. They make me want to work to make the world a little bit better. And they make me want to be a better man. If you're walking down the right path and you're willing to keep walking, eventually you'll make progress. There's not a liberal America and a conservative America. There's the United States of America. We don't ask you to believe in our ability to bring change, rather, we ask you to believe in yours. One voice can change a room, and if one voice can change a room, then it can change a city, and if it can change a city, it can change a state, and if it changes a state, it can change a nation, and if it can change a nation, it can change the world. Your voice can change the world. I believe in evolution, scientific inquiry, and global warming. I believe in free speech, whether politically correct or politically incorrect, and I am suspicious of using government to impose anybody's religious beliefs, including my own, on non-believers. What I've realized is that life doesn't count for much unless you're willing to do your small part to leave our children, all of our children, a better world. Any fool can have a child. That doesn't make you a father. It's the courage to raise a child that makes you a father. Focusing your life solely on making a buck shows a poverty of ambition. It asks too little of yourself. And it will leave you unfulfilled. No, you can't deny women their basic rights and pretend it's about your religious freedom. If you don't like birth control, don't use it. Religious freedom doesn't mean you can force others to live by your own beliefs. It's important to make sure that we're talking with each other in a way that heals, not in a way that wounds. Making your mark on the world is hard. If it were easy, everybody would do it. But it's not. It takes patience, it takes commitment, and it comes with plenty of failure along the way. The real test is not whether you avoid this failure, because you won't. It's whether you let it harden or shame you into inaction, or whether you learn from it, whether you choose to persevere. Nothing can stand in the way of the power of millions of voices calling for change. The worst thing that colonialism did was to cloud our view of our past. Why can't I just eat my waffle? I have always believed that hope is that stubborn thing inside us that insists, despite all the evidence to the contrary, that something better awaits us so long as we have the courage to keep reaching, to keep working, to keep fighting. Our stories may be singular, but our destination is shared. You can't let your failures define you. You have to let your failures teach you. While we breathe, we will hope. No one is pro-abortion. Enthusiasm makes up for a host of deficiencies. You can put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. More than a building that houses books and data, the library has always been a window to a larger world, a place where we've always come to discover big ideas and profound concepts that help move the American story forward. Libraries remind us that truth isn't about who yells the loudest, but who has the right information. Because even as we're the most religious of people, America's innovative genius has always been preserved, because we also have a deep faith in facts. And so the moment we persuade a child, any child, to cross that threshold into a library, we've changed their lives forever, and for the better. This is an enormous force for good. If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer. We think of faith as a source of comfort and understanding, but find our expressions of faith sowing division. We believe ourselves to be a tolerant people even as racial, religious, and cultural tensions roil the landscape. And instead of resolving these tensions or mediating these conflicts, our politics fans them, exploits them, and drives us further apart. My identity might begin with the fact of my race, but it couldn't end there. At least that's what I would choose to believe. There are people in the world who think only about themselves. They don't care what happens to other people so long as they get what they want. They put other people down to make themselves feel important. Then there are people who do the opposite, who are able to imagine how others must feel, and make sure that they don't do things that hurt people. So, she said, looking me squarely in the eye. Which kind of person do you want to be? Change, we need. A lot of sheltered dogs are mutts like me. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you'll end up. A nation that can't control its energy sources, can't control its future. Someone once said that every man is trying to live up to his father's expectations, or make up for their father's mistakes. Focusing your life solely on making a buck shows a certain poverty of ambition. It asks too little of yourself. Because it's only when you hitch your wagon to something larger than yourself that you realize your true potential. You might be locked in a world not of your own making, her eyes said, but you still have a claim on how it is shaped. You still have responsibilities. All too rarely do I hear people asking just what it is that we've done to make so many children's hearts so hard, or what collectively we might do to right their moral compass, what values we must live by. That's just how white folks will do you. It wasn't merely the cruelty involved, I was learning that black people could be mean and then some. It was a particular brand of arrogance and obtuseness in otherwise sane people that brought forth our bitter laughter. It was as if whites didn't know they were being cruel in the first place. Or at least thought you deserved of their scorn. We may not be able to stop evil in the world, but how we treat one another is entirely up to us. We will outstretch the hand if you unclench your fist. Hope in the face of difficulty. Hope in the face of uncertainty. The audacity of hope. In the end, that is God's greatest gift to us. A belief in things not seen. A belief that there are better days ahead. Change is never easy, but always possible. I think perhaps education doesn't do us much good unless it is mixed with sweat. I wonder, sometimes, whether men and women in fact are capable of learning from history, whether we progress from one stage to the next in an upward course, or whether we just ride the cycles of boom and bust, war and peace, ascent and decline. But you see, a rich country like America can perhaps afford to be stupid. I wish the country had fewer lawyers and more engineers. Cynicism is a sorry kind of wisdom. It's only when you hitch your wagon to something larger than yourself that you realize your true potential. To those Americans whose support I have yet to earn, I may not have won your vote tonight, but I hear your voices. I need your help. And I will be your president, too. At the moment that we persuade a child, any child, to cross that threshold, that magic threshold into a library, we change their lives forever, for the better. There is no excuse for not trying. To all those watching tonight from beyond our shores, from parliaments and palaces, to those who are huddled around radios in the forgotten corners of the world, our stories are singular, but our destiny is shared, and a new dawn of American leadership is at hand. Each of us deserves the freedom to pursue our own version of happiness. No one deserves to be bullied. What Washington needs is adult supervision. You know, sometimes I'll go to an 8th grade graduation and there's all that pomp and circumstance and gowns and flowers. And I think to myself, it's just 8th grade. An 8th grade education doesn't cut it today. Let's give them a handshake and tell them to get their butts back in the library. Let me tell you something. I'm from Chicago. I don't break. The thing about getting old, Toot had told me, is that you're the same person inside. I remember her eyes studying me through her thick bifocals, as if to make sure I was paying attention. You're trapped in this doggone contraption that starts falling apart. But it's still you. You understand? I did now. I confess to wincing every so often at a poorly chosen word, a mangled sentence, an expression of emotion that seems indulgent or overly practiced. I have the urge to cut the book by 50 pages or so, possessed as I am with a keener appreciation for brevity. My little girls can break my heart. They can make me cry just looking at them eating their string beans. To be known. To be heard. To have one's unique identity recognized and seen as worthy. It was a universal human desire, I thought, as true for nations and peoples as it was for individuals. The truth is, I've never been a big believer in destiny. I worry that it encourages resignation in the down and out and complacency among the powerful. I experienced failure and learned to buck up so I could rally those who'd put their trust in me. I suffered rejections and insults often enough to stop fearing them. In other words, I grew up and got my sense of humor back. Each path to knowledge involves different rules, and these rules are not interchangeable. We may come from different places and have different stories, but we share common hopes and one very American dream. I'd met my share of highly credentialed, high IQ morons,